Hello everybody, this is Talon. 2023 has been an interesting year for me and especially for this channel. It's the first year that I really had the opportunity to give it my undivided attention. Researching for these videos gave me the chance to learn a lot about food and nutrition that I may not have otherwise, and it allowed me the freedom to experiment with new things in that realm, more specifically in the kitchen. Instead of being on the road or in the exercise studio I used to work at, I'm at home, in front of the computer a lot more. Thus my meals have gone from what's the healthiest thing I can grab within a mile of here to wow, I have the entire food world at my fingertips and I can take it home and make it myself. Needless to say, some changes were made. Today I'm going to go over 10 foods that I started eating this year, why I chose them, and how they fit into my ever-evolving meal plan. Now when I say started eating this year, that doesn't necessarily mean ate for the first time this year. It can, but most of these will be foods that I've had before that I made a conscious decision to include in a more regular rotation. Before we start, go ahead and let me know down in the comments something that you started eating this year that you want to let the world know about. And without further ado, let's get into my 10 new foods for 2023. The first food I want to talk about is often one of the first things that I eat in a day: tangerines. This year, at least, pretty much single-handedly replacing the banana as my go-to morning fruit. Now, everyone knows tangerines, but I still think they're underrated. They're one of the first foods that comes to mind when many people think immune health, being a good source of vitamin C, a decent source of carotenoids that get converted into vitamin A, and being full of flavonoids like naringenin, hesperidin, and nobiletin. Tangerines are shown to benefit skin, brain, and heart health and function, more specifically contributing to collagen production, helping to prevent brain-related diseases like schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's, and reducing the risk of stroke, heart disease, and certain cancers. The roughly 9 grams of sugar per tangerine I also use to my advantage because I tend to go train not long after eating them. And the reason I pick tangerines over oranges is because they're smaller and easier to peel. Overall, this is a pretty straightforward addition that has changed up the dynamic of my mornings. Now, for the majority of my life, I have been pretty loyal to one type of nut, the cashew. That was changed a bit this year when I started craving another, almonds. And almonds are a pretty good nut. While they're very monounsaturated fat and protein dense, what almonds are most known for is vitamin E. Vitamin E functions as an antioxidant, mainly attributed to skin health, protecting cells from oxidative damage. It also contributes to anti-inflammatory effects, reducing the risk of heart issues and certain cancers. Almonds are also a solid source of manganese, vitamin B2, copper, phosphorus, magnesium, and fiber. And with all of these different nutrients in play together, almonds become a pretty well-rounded package with some well-backed health benefits. This includes blood pressure and blood sugar control, owing notably to its healthy fats and magnesium content, and it's shown to lower LDL cholesterol while having a minimal effect on HDL. But the combination of nutrients almonds provide really play a role in almost every bodily function, and they're one of the lowest effort ways to consume them. Now, almonds, like most nuts, contain what are known as anti-nutrients, compounds that can interfere with the absorption of certain nutrients. Almonds are known to contain tannins, phytic acid, and oxalates, which can actually have niche benefits of their own, but the most important thing to mention is the inhibition of absorption of micronutrients like calcium, iron, magnesium, and zinc, and the link they have with kidney stones. But overall, at least in the amounts that I have them in, the good outweighs the bad. For me, almonds have not replaced cashews and likely never will, but they are a welcome addition to my pantry. Next up, we've got a food that I truly cannot praise enough: garlic. It's such a unique spice-like vegetable with a one-of-a-kind flavor that makes so many recipes work. Most notably, a stir-fry that I've started eating this year at least weekly. While throwing a bunch of random vegetables and chicken breast in a pan might not sound very appetizing, a bit of garlic actually makes it something I look forward to. I never really eat that much garlic at once, only about 3 grams at most, as it is potent in both flavor and effects. Garlic has long been used as a medicinal food, and the majority of its medicinal properties come from its sulfur compounds, most notably allicin, as it's by far the most concentrated source. Allicin benefits the body in many ways, regulating blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol levels, protecting against cognitive decline and Alzheimer's, helping to prevent illnesses, even just common colds due to its antiviral properties, and it's a basically proven anti-cancer. Allicin has also been shown to help prevent negative effects from heavy metals, notably lead toxicity. Garlic is also one of the oldest athletic performance-enhancing substances, though lab results show mixed at best actual results. Overall, garlic is such a unique food with uses that truly cannot be replicated, and I look forward to finding more ways to include it in the future. And continuing with the trend of stir fry, another staple food in it is broccoli, if for no other reason because I think stir fry looks weird without some green in it. Now obviously I'm no stranger to broccoli, it's like the most stereotypical vegetable ever, but this is probably the first time in my adult life that I've actually seeked it out. It's a very low-calorie vegetable, being mainly comprised of water as most vegetables are, but it excels nutritionally when compared to most greens. Broccoli is pretty fibrous, very high in vitamin K1 and vitamin C, and a solid source of folate, potassium, manganese, iron, and choline. And broccoli is loaded with antioxidants like the eye-preserving lutein and zeaxanthin, the blood pressure-regulating quercetin, and camphorol, which is shown to combat inflammation and various chronic diseases. Anything this nutrient-dense while being so low in calories and so accessible deserves attention. And broccoli is what's known as a cruciferous vegetable, being in the same family as cabbage, cauliflower, kale, and Brussels sprouts. Anyway, these are known for containing a few other plant compounds, notably sulforaphane and indole-3-carbonyl, a glucosinolate and breakdown product of glucosinolate with several health benefits, notably anti-cancer effects. Honestly, broccoli is basically the face of all vegetables and is such a natural choice to have in a regular rotation. And next up is another one of the most iconic vegetables, the onion. A food that I'm no stranger to putting on homemade sandwiches and burgers, but this was the first time that I've really looked to expand my use of the onion, more specifically by cooking it and including it in where else but a stir fry. Now, onions belong to the same family as shallots, leeks, and the aforementioned garlic, containing the same sulfur compounds as garlic, albeit in less concentrated quantities, but you can get away with eating more of it. That main sulfur compound is once again allicin, contributing its medicinal, anti-cancer, and heart and cognition preserving properties. And onions are also rich in antioxidants like quercetin and certain anthocyanins, which are believed to be behind many of onions' health benefits like heart health, blood sugar and cholesterol level management, and prevention of bone mass deterioration. It should be noted that onions are not for everyone, as the high fructan content, a type of soluble fiber, can cause digestive issues in some people. But everyone else can probably find a place for this incredibly versatile vegetable in their diet. So about mid-year, I went to stock up on some staple foods, and the store was out of broccoli, and I thought, well, what else would go well in stir-fry? Mushrooms it is. I honestly can't believe how long I've gone on this channel without talking about mushrooms, but there's no time like the present. Now, there's a lot of different kinds of mushrooms out there, and the kind that I've been eating is the Agaricus bisporus, but since that sounds like a Harry Potter spell, we're just going to call them white mushrooms, or when they're mature, portobello mushrooms. Or table, common, button, or champignon mushrooms. They have a lot of names. But regardless of what you call them, they're great. They have a higher protein to calorie ratio than most of the vegetables they tend to get lumped in with. And they're a decent to good source of just all of the micronutrients. Vitamins B2, 3, 5, 6, copper, selenium, choline, phosphorus, potassium, and vitamin D2. And notably, several of these nutrients are tougher to get in more plant-based diets. Mushrooms also contain a wide array of antioxidants, most notably varying phenolic compounds that give mushrooms a reputation for heart health and anti-cancer benefits. So now I use mushrooms in every stir-fry, but also every salad and most homemade burgers. Admittedly, I, for the most part, neglected/forgot about mushrooms for the majority of my adult life, and I gotta say, I'm glad they're back. Now, for the majority of my life, I have exclusively used olive oil. I figured it didn't really matter that much while cooking, especially flavor-wise. I am now ready to admit that I was wrong, because I now do a lot of cooking with butter. Previously, I only ever thought of butter as more of a treat, to spread it on bread or pancakes or something like that. But I've come to accept that butter has a lot more use than that. For one thing, I am slowly but surely being convinced that animal fats are so much less risky than the entire nutritional world would have you believe. Some saturated fat is known to be essential, and I, for one, tend to like less fatty sources anyway, preferring leaner cuts of meat, reduced fat milks, and the like, and this frees up some room to use butter in the kitchen. Now, lately, higher saturated fats and oils like butter, lard, poultry fats, and coconut oil are being recognized as the superior high-heat cooking choice, being safer, having higher smoking points, and being less at risk of breaking down while just generally being more flavorful. I, for one, will probably never cook eggs in anything except butter ever again. It is truly the magical secret to fluffy, tasty eggs. Butter comes with its own unique benefits as well, notably in the form of the short-chain butyric acid, which is shown to reduce intestinal inflammation and improve insulin sensitivity. And I advocate for you to go out of your way to get grass-fed butter, which tends to contain more omega-3s and conjugated linoleic acid, two nutrients that I've covered in some depth on this channel before. Now, I usually only use 1 to 2 teaspoons, about 5 to 10 grams at a time, but I can safely say that butter is now a regular addition to my diet. I have very fond memories of me and a friend of mine back in college wrapping up the day at a table together with a cup of tea. Very relaxing. Now, a lot of people in my comments like to describe tea as basically water plus. Tea is virtually calorieless and in and of itself comes with many health benefits and practical uses as well. Even standard black tea, which is my go-to, is full of antioxidants, polyphenols like catechins, theaflavins, and theorubicins, which are shown to benefit heart health and have a prebiotic effect. For me, tea is my go-to hot drink because I personally don't like coffee, and for those who share that sentiment, tea can also be a good replacement source of caffeine. Many people use caffeine as a nervous stimulant. I personally don't have energy issues, but for people who need a little kick, maybe this can help, as it is shown to aid with alertness and focus. I usually just have black tea straight, never using plain sugar, if anything honey or lemon, but usually just plain. And let me specify black tea, not the other most common green tea. I had that for the first time in a while recently. That stuff's disgusting. But I find black tea to be tasty and relaxing. It's a more flavorful glass of water with realistically no drawbacks for me in the amounts that I have it in. I used to think everything was better between 2 pieces of bread, until this year when my eyes have been opened and I now believe everything is better in a tortilla. If I ever don't want whatever I'm planning on eating, it's usually easier to eat in a tortilla. Wake up in the morning and I'm not feeling eggs, throw it in a tortilla. Evening comes and I'm not feeling chicken breast, throw it in a tortilla. Beef, fish, shrimp, throw it in a tortilla. I usually get corn tortillas as opposed to flour, and I do go out of my way to avoid as many unnecessary added ingredients as possible. Corn tortillas are typically less caloric while being more fibrous and containing more magnesium, an essential nutrient a fair amount of people struggle to consume enough of. Corn tortillas also tend to be less processed and more natural than their flour counterparts, but both are typically smaller and less caloric than bread. Overall, there's nothing special nutritionally about tortillas. They're more just a form of delivery to get food from plate to mouth. Honestly, may have developed a bit of an obsession with tacos this year, and I, for one, am so fine with that. And the last food that I started eating this year that I want to go over is shrimp. At some point I realized, hey, I like seafood, and this is definitely one of the cheaper, more accessible options. But nutritionally, the draws of shrimp are many. It's ridiculously lean, with about a 20-to-1 ratio of protein to fat. Great for when I know I'm going to be getting a lot of fat from other sources. And per calorie, they're a solid source of selenium, vitamin B12, iron, phosphorus, vitamin B3, zinc, copper, and omega-3s. They also contain astaxanthin, a carotenoid antioxidant common in many seafood options, and they're typically lower in their heavy metal contents like mercury due to their smaller size. I've come to the conclusion that they're one of the most versatile meats, and possibly the easiest way to add more seafood to your diet. I've started eating shrimp stir-fry or tacos pretty much at least weekly, but really grilled shrimp is a welcome addition to most anything. I guess Bubba knew what he was talking about after all. So this is definitely not the most educational video I've ever made, but I hope if nothing else it serves as a reminder that we are allowed to change and that we are encouraged to grow. That we should be open to those everyday alterations in all aspects that make life a little happier and a little healthier. If you guys like this style of video, let me know down in the comments because I know it's a bit different from my usual output, and don't hesitate to subscribe if you learned a little something. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this year has been a pretty stark change for me in a lot of ways in terms of lifestyle, and this channel is a big reason why. I probably don't say it enough, but I am truly grateful for every single person watching and listening into these, and I'm looking forward to what I have planned for y'all in the years to come.